Welcome in to 2-for-1 Drafts. Austin Gayle here with Mike Renner, the Monday ahead of the 2020 NFL Scouting Combine here in the new podcast setup. If you do follow along live on YouTube, you get to see Mike's pretty face, my ugly mug, every week on PFF's YouTube channel. And today we got a new setup, and I'm digging it. I got to be honest.
Oh, dude, this table and these mics, you sound amazing. I never thought you sounded that good before.
It's somehow like...
I didn't know your real voice.
Well, I really appreciate the compliment. I'll take it. If it's a mic that's got to do it, it's a mic that's got to do it. But today we're going to preview the 2020 NFL Scouting Combine. We're going to do a ton of podcasts this week. I think we might record 3, 4, 5 podcasts this week as we offer our takeaways from the results, from the measurements. We're going to be in Indianapolis. It's going to be live from Indianapolis. We're going to bring on a handful of guests. I know Jordan Reed of the Draft Network is going to come on. Ted Nguyen of The Athletic. Might even get some players. I know Tristan Wirfs is interested in coming on 2-for-1 Drafts. Curtis Weaver of Boise State might jump on. We got a lot of good stuff coming up this week, so definitely stay tuned for 2-for-1 Drafts.
Yes, Tristan Wirfs. Now OT4 on our board.
I know he dropped. A recent big board update. Go to PFF.com.
He might not want to come on anymore.
Yeah. Go to PFF.com. We're dropping a top 150 PFF big board update. Josh Jones up to offensive tackle 3. Tristan Wirfs down to offensive tackle 4. That's just how good Josh Jones is. And this offensive tackle class, really. There's a ton of good offensive line talent in this class.
You find that all in the draft guide, which drops later today. Once you guys are listening to this, it'll probably be live. You'll probably can be able to get it with your Edge or Elite subscription. I didn't sleep this weekend. I didn't do much other than work on this draft guide for the past week of my life, but it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, it does. It's over 750 pages, like 3 pages per player, 250 prospects. I mean, this thing is loaded to the brim season with this draft guide. It comes out today, Monday, available to all Edge and Elite subscribers. Definitely recommend grabbing your copy ahead of this year's Combine. All right, we're going to dive into the segments now. We're going to look at our predictions for winners and losers at each position in the 2020 Combine. It's a little bit of an updated schedule, just to update the listeners here. We won't see a workout until Thursday night. I think it's Thursday at 4 p.m. when you first start to see the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends actually participate in drills. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, these podcasts coming up, is a lot of it's going to be kind of prediction season, updates from other media, try and get some sources while we're out. I don't know what accent that was. We're going to get some sources, though, in Indianapolis. Get some good food as well. Indianapolis, we said this on the last podcast, and I received some good good stuff on social after saying this.
What are you trying to say here?
Indianapolis is an underrated city, and people are like, yes, it is. And I stand by it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into this. Let's get into this position by position overview.
Predicting the winners and losers. Let's go.
Predicting the winners. Starting at the quarterback position, Mike, you go ahead and kick it off.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit about the quarterbacks there. So
really?
Yeah, no winner, no loser. You can't change your draft stock at the Combine for your quarterback unless you hit a cameraman, which I think Christian Hackenberg did back in the day.
Oh, man.
But
So you don't buy into the hand size either?
Okay, I guess hand size a little bit if they're tiny. Mm-hmm. But if they're tiny, usually that comes out before. Usually someone's like, hey, they're small. This Kevin Davidson, the Princeton QB, came in with 8 1/4 inch hands. That's too small.
Yeah,
he's off the board.
Man,
but the rest is 9 inches. You're fine. In my book.
I know that for sure. But, all right, so for me, I had a winner and loser I have here is Justin Herbert. I don't know how much more he can win, but if you didn't see him at the Senior Bowl, 6'6", great head of hair, athletic, big arm. I think this is where Justin Herbert really shines. I don't know how much more he has room to improve. He shines in shorts. He shines throwing the ball on air, and I think the measurables are great. I think he's going to test well. I think people are going to realize this guy's a legitimate athlete and can add value as a rusher if they don't already. I know that a lot of that's shown up on tape, but again, I think this is just going to be another opportunity for Justin Herbert to have the GMs fall in love because, this is where he really does excel. And as for a loser, I got Shea Patterson of Michigan. I think this is going to be a little bit of an L for him. He was not an accurate thrower of the football at Michigan, and I don't think he's going to test at a level that he needs to test to find a Trace McSorley, Taysom Hill role at the next level.
You love burying Shea Patterson, and I don't hate it. Going to Notre Dame, him being a Michigan QB, I sit over here and I'm I love hearing you trash this guy. I can't even trash him that hard, but I love hearing you do it.
I kind of love trashing him. I don't know why. It's this former 5-star that's fallen down to earth with me among these plebeians. But yeah, that's where I'm at with the quarterbacks. I know you don't really care, and I agree that you can't really elevate your stock a ton at the Combine, but I do think think these GMs are going to be licking their. John Elway is going to be licking his chops looking at this 6'6" Justin Herbert with the fresh head of hair. I mean, this is just going to be his opportunity to really shine.
I love to hear in the scouting report when someone's like, looks the part.
Yes.
I mean, I write it myself.
Justin Herbert looks the part. That is 100% fact. All right, let's jump to the running back position. Go ahead and take over. Who is your winner, your predicted winner at that position at the Combine? Who's your loser?
I'm going to go with Wisconsin running back Jonathan Taylor. I think he will run, if not sub 4.4, in the low 4.4s. And at 220, maybe 225. And that's game-breaking explosiveness, speed. And I think someone's going to see the production, see that explosiveness, and fall in love. Now, can he do anything in the pass game? No. Is he going to maybe drop some few passes in the gauntlet? Yes. But that speed is going to translate, and I think he's going to help himself by kind of separating, because I think he's going to be faster than Swift. I think he's going to be faster than Moss. I think he's going to be faster than J.K. Dobbins. At that point, that number on the page, being ahead of all those guys is going to look good for him.
Oh, I would agree. He's going to run very, very fast. His straight line speed is fantastic. I think my winner now is Cam Akers of Florida State because I think he has the most to gain. I mean, this guy is being slept on a bit in this draft class. Right now, he's the 6th-ranked running back on PFF's latest draft board, but I think he has an opportunity to raise his stock because, I mean, he puts together that former 5-star pedigree and actually has a very good testing week. I think people are going to jump on the board with Cam Akers and look more at, this Florida State offensive line was awful. He did not have the opportunity like these other guys, like a Jonathan Taylor, like J.K. Dobbins, to really produce from a box score perspective. And I think with that being said, I'm willing to buy into Cam Akers more on day 2 if he does test really well, as we expect.
Yeah, I think he's going to have the best all-around athletic profile when we talk about explosion drills, 40, agility drills. I think he puts up the best numbers of any of these guys. I don't know if that's necessarily going to vault him to the top of my board or way up the board just because of that, because you expect it. I mean, you saw him. He is athletic on tape. So I can get on board with Akers as a winner.
Give me your loser.
And it's going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire because, again, of the top 5 backs that I mentioned in terms of Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss, DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins, and then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if he wants to be long in that group, I don't think he's going to come close to them in the 40. I think he's a step slower, going to be shorter, smaller than a lot of these other guys. And at that point, I mean, yes, trust the tape. We're going to trust the tape, but he's not going to look as good on, like I said, on the page. He's not going to look as good. And that subtly will impact how you feel about the guy. Even if it really is not going to matter on the football field, I think NFL evaluators, it will subtly impact what they think.
Yeah, I think he's going to could crack 4.6. I mean, he could run over 4.6. I think if he does it in the 4.5s, that's a great time for him. But I think you see that in the on-field production. You see it on film. He's not a straight-line juice type of guy, and I don't think I'm going to knock him for having a bad combine unless it's atrocious, like 4.7s, 4.8s. Then you kind of start to throw up all over yourself, and you got to drop him down the board. But I don't think he's going to have that level of a bad combine. I do see him as a loser coming out, though, because his testing is just not going to look like J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor, Cam Akers, etc. My loser, and he's not a huge name in this class, but Michael Warren, I think, is going to come in a little bit smaller than he's listed at University of Cincinnati, and he's not going to run super fast. And you have that combination there where you're a smaller back. He's stocky. He's got a good build, but he's a smaller back that's not going to run, in the low 4.5s even. I think that's a concern for Michael Warren. I think he could come out of this as a loser and maybe get that just a guy tag, unfortunately.
Yeah, just in today's NFL, a back well over 4.6 who's not going to add to your receiving game, what are you doing with that?
Yeah, exactly.
What's that
That's tough.
What's that doing for you? It's just not adding a lot of value to where the game's going.
He's a tough player, very productive. I think former Mr. Ohio, had a ton of production at University of Cincinnati. I think he's a guy that if you do get him in late day 3 and you could stumble into some production for him, but I don't think he's a guy that you're going to prioritize in your draft board.
Yeah.
Wide receiver. Let's jump to wide receiver, the position here. They've already got their measurements in, and let's go ahead and dive into who's your winner, who's your predicted winner coming out of the combine at the receiver position.
I'm going to go with TCU wide receiver Jalen Reagor. I think we already saw the weigh-in, and he was a better build, 5'11", 206, I believe, which is like a much stockier build than any of the other top wide receivers or any of the like the Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy's, any of the speed guys near the top of the class. I think he's going to run the 4.3s. Jumps out the gym. At that point, when you have a guy that athletic and has been productive in the past, I think he'll push up into the almost like lock first-round conversation with some numbers like that.
I think he's going to test very well. He's going to run fast, could break into the 4.2s along with Henry Ruggs, and he came in 5'10", 206 pounds. This guy added some beef to his frame, and that's weighs more than CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, and Jerry Jeudy.
That's a running back. Like, there are running backs who are going to check in with less dense than that.
Oh, absolutely. I think I was very impressed with that time. I mean, he runs in the low 4.3s at that weight. I mean, this is stupid speed, and I think you have to be impressed with what he did to get up to that weight at the combine. My winner at the receiver position, and this guy is going to just absolutely torch the combines. Laviska Shenault Jr. of Colorado. This guy weighed in over 226 pounds, I think 6'1" or 6'2", officially at the combine. I think he's going to run fast, test very well, jump out of the gym. You're going to come away thinking, I don't know what position I'm going to play him at. It could be slot, outside, running back, quarterback. I don't even know, but I want him on my football team, and I want to use him creatively and get him involved as quickly as possible because he's just a threat with the ball in his hands, and I think he's going to test accordingly.
Well, the wide receiver position in general, like winners, there's going to be a lot. Like a lot of these guys are going to come away.
The reason this class is so good,
yeah.
and you said this, the reason this class is so good is because they're all very, very good athletes. Yeah. The top guys are very, very good athletes.
Like, I think every single one of our top 5, T. Higgins is the one guy we really haven't mentioned, who's the top 5 wide receiver, going to go to the combine and impress. Like, put up numbers that you're just like, oh, shit, that's wide receiver 1 type of numbers. Like, very good type of numbers. There's only a handful of guys that we even have in, like, our top 12 that I don't think will be, freak athletes testing-wise.
All right, jump to your loser at the combine.
And this is one that I think is in our top 12 that will not test out like freak athletes.
Oh, man.
Tennessee's Jauan Jennings. And I'm hesitant on him. I can be dissuaded on him with his skill set being as old as he is, already 5th-year senior. 2, just I don't think he's going to test well speed-wise. Like I think he might run in the 4.6s. If you run in the 4.6s, you better do a lot of other things pretty damn well. And then it's like we really haven't seen him do that many other things pretty damn well, except for after the catch. And I think his shake in the route running is good. Shake at the line of scrimmage is good. After the catch, I have really no question marks about that. But at his age, with speed concerns, it's just you're talking about the value aspect. And at that point, I think he's going to be a good player. But is it worth the 2nd-round pick? I'm not sure. He might drop down boards if he really comes in with slow time.
Yeah, that's going to be tough, man. I think with Jauan Jennings, too, he struggled to create separation at the Senior Bowl. I know Sam Monson did not come away impressed with his tape. He's diving into the wide receivers in this draft class as well. And Jauan Jennings, if he doesn't test well, there's only so much of that size and that ability after the catch that you can really get on board with if you want to see him as a top 50 player.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in this draft class when you have other receivers with better abilities than Jauan Jennings.
And I think that's the big thing. It's considering the draft class. It's like, do you want him or do you want this guy who was productive and is 2 years younger and is an explosive athlete? May not be as good after the catch, but like he's ticking the other boxes that Jennings is not.
Yep. My loser, and I think he's been a loser this entire pre-draft process. I mean, people have buried this guy, since the start. It's Tyler Johnson of Minnesota. He finished as PFF's highest-graded receiver in college football. Production is there. I like his shake at the release point. I think you've comped him to Devontae Adams. I do see that in his releases a ton, but he's not going to run fast. And it's just going to be another reason to kind of knock this guy. And, from what I've heard, the interview process is going to be hit and miss with this guy. I mean, apparently I've interviewed him before, and I came away impressed. He was a quieter guy, but nothing super red flaggy. And I've had some red flaggy interviews talking to some other prospects. Tyler Johnson was not one of them that kind of came out like that. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to be interested to hear the buzz at the combine. I think being in Indianapolis, you're going to hear from a lot of different sources, media and NFL talent evaluators, about Tyler Johnson. I've heard all the way from this guy can barely make a special team roster, all the way to this guy is one of the better receivers in this class. So I'm interested with Tyler Johnson. I don't think he's going to test well. He will be a loser in that regard, but also I'm interested to go to Indianapolis and hear what other people are saying about this guy.
So the Devontae Adams comp, which I keep going back to, is Devontae Adams was not fast. He was not fast coming out. I don't think he still is that fast. Ran a 4.56, but he was explosive. He had 39.5-inch vertical. The dude could jump. If Tyler Johnson really is not going to run fast, which I don't foresee him breaking 4.5, you better be explosive. You better show us something in either the vertical, broad, or have off the charts agility numbers to not to avoid being a loser like you mentioned. But I think there's still something to his game that I think will test well from what I've seen.
Yep. All right, let's jump to tight end. I think we've already seen some tight end measurements, and your winner, I can see it on the list right now, has already won. Go ahead and dive into your winner at the tight end position.
Washington tight end Hunter Bryant, tight end number 1 on PFF's draft board. Watch tape at Washington. He moves like a wide receiver, but also looks like a wide receiver. Like his build, it was not a tight end. He didn't look like a tight end. Listed at 6'2", 240. I was like, yeah, right. Comes in at 6'2", 248 here. And at 248, there's only so much water you can chug the night before. Like, you can't chug probably more than 4 or 5 pounds of water to get yourself to that weight and then actually still test well. So we might be looking at a guy who's actually has tight end size now, and if he kept that wide receiver athleticism, we're going to be talking about a class where I was saying there wasn't a great option in this tight end class. A guy I thought could develop into this, the Travis Kelce, George Kittle, the real needle movers at the tight end position. I might be changing my tune if Hunter Bryant tests out well at that weight.
Yeah, 248 pounds. I mean, when we were watching him, I was like, I don't even know if this guy's 230 pounds. I mean, you look at Evan Ingram. I've made the comp to Evan Ingram for Hunter Bryant. He weighed in at 235 pounds at the comp.
Yeah, 234. So
234. Sorry, I gave him an extra pound. Jeez, I thought he ate more. But Evan Ingram, 234, and he ran a 4.42 though. Hunter Bryant comes in at 248 and runs in the 4.4s. I'll tell you right now, that's absurd. Yeah. And I think you're gonna see more people jump on him as the top tight end in this class. It's not super common. PFF having Hunter Bryant as the top tight end in this class is a bit rare right now.
And the reason I don't love drafting tight ends in the first round is because they can't actually go outside and win one-on-one. Mm-hmm. If you have there's so few tight ends that if all of a sudden you put Richard Sherman on them, they'd still be able to win. If they realistically, I just hammered the mic there. If you have a guy, if you're, they can be shut down because they just still don't have the athleticism and movement skills, most of them. But if you are, 248 and you run a 4.4, we can start to talk about whether you can actually start to beat single coverage regularly.
Yep. All right. I think my winner at the tight end position, I was going to pick Hunter Bryant, but to go a little bit away from that, I'm going to go Steven Sullivan, the LSU tight end, wide receiver convert that already weighed in with an 85-inch wingspan.
He weighed in with that?
No, weighed in or measured in with that. They took out the measuring tape, maybe an extra one. 85-inch wingspan. Yeah. This guy could literally take flight if he flapped hard enough, and he's going to run fast. You see him at the Senior Bowl, he kind of blew me away a little bit. I didn't know who, I didn't have a ton on him going into the Senior Bowl, but he was really fast, can separate, good straight line speed, raw as a route runner, still learning the position. But if anyone's going to win the combine, it's him, because all of the stuff he's going to do in Indianapolis is stuff that he's good at.
I was going to say he might run 4.5 and then jump out the gym. The dude's explosive. And I'll take that chance on the explosive guy every day of the week, tight end, before I take a chance on a guy running a 4.8.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Steven Sullivan,
you run a 4.8.
You're not going to draft him highly because he's still very much learning the position and didn't even start at LSU. I mean, Thaddeus Moss started ahead of him and got majority of the snaps, but I think he's a project that worth investing in on day 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you run a 4.8, I'm not going to draft you before the 5th round.
Yeah,
It's just you're not moving the needle.
All right, give me your loser at the tight end position. Your predicted loser at the combine, the tight end position.
This one's tough. I'm going to go. I didn't want to bury my boy Jared Pinkney anymore because
I got you.
Okay.
I got my shovel.
Go Cole Kmet because I'm not a Notre Dame homer at all. You guys know this. Cole Kmet, though, Notre Dame tight end. I just think he's getting tight end 1 hype, and he's not going to have tight end 1 athleticism.
No.
I just do not see it on tape. I don't know. I don't think he breaks. He's probably going to run around mid 4.7s, I'd say, maybe low 4.7s. Change of directions, any sort of explosiveness. I don't think it's there. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I just don't see it.
He also came in
262. Came in big.
Yeah, I was about to say he came in big, beefy. That's a monster right there. That's that's big. I don't know if he's going to test well at 262. That's a lot. That's a lot of beef.
Inline guy, which
no one runs anymore. No, I mean inline tight ends is just not
overrated.
Yeah,
how much
I would agree.
Matters.
All right, off the tackle, predicted winner. Or no, let me jump to my loser.
Loser.
No, my loser is going to be Jared Pinkney. He did come in, though, with some good measurables. Over 10-inch hands, pretty decent wingspan. I think people are going to like that. Those weren't concerns with him coming into this, but he's not going to run fast. The agility is not going to look great. He's not that athlete, that move tight end that people want, that can add as a receiver compared to some other receiving tight ends in this class.
I still say the Antonio Gates comp is spot on, but it was just Antonio Gates last year.
Yeah. I think Antonio Gates, as a 10-year, 15-year veteran, I think Jared Pinkney fits the bill. And you saw that at the Senior Bowl. I mean, he had an opportunity to go against some legit competition and separate and show some things, and really was blanketed in a bad way. So let's jump to offensive tackle now. Give me your predicted winner at offensive tackle at the combine.
I'm going to go with Mekhi Becton, just because we're going to put looks the part on the scouting report again. He's going to have absurd measurables, the height, weight, length, those things. And then he's going to test every other tight end or every other tackle there in terms of he's not going to obviously get off the charts numbers, but if he's going to move like a normal tackle does at that weight, people are going to lose their minds.
Jim Nagy just tweeted out, and I think this is important. We were talking about Chase Claypool maybe before the podcast, but Jim Nagy's saying I think he's embracing the tight end conversation. weighed in at the Senior Bowl at 229, packed on another 9 pounds for this weigh in to 238. I like Claypool at tight end. Like Claypool
Already
at tight
winner.
end.
Yeah.
That's a huge win for him. Him buying into that, not trying to cut to like 225 and still test very slow. He's going to test fast for a tight end. I really do like that move for Chase Claypool, if that's true.
If you're listening to the pod, I've called that. I've said that. I've been
That was
saying
an
that for
easy
a
call,
while.
though.
Whoa. Okay, yeah. I mean, it was. It was just like you don't. Again, it comes back to actually what we just kind of talked about. Tight ends. You don't. If you're not winning from the outside, he wasn't winning from the outside consistently. So if you're not winning from the outside,
you go back to his Senior Bowl tape. I mean, this guy, his wins were like, I threw the cornerback on the ground. That's not going to really fly in the NFL. Exactly. I think him playing tight end, like, I'm starting to get a little excited.
Like, yeah, exactly. It brings a different element into what you're asked to do, and then at that point, like if you come in at 238, you still test like you were at when you were 227 playing this last year at Notre Dame. We can start to talk about your value going up because you have just a different role can increase your value.
All right, you chose Mekhi Becton as your winner, your predicted winner at the combine for the offensive tackle. I'm going to go Jedrick Wills Jr. I don't know how much more he can win. I mean, this guy might be a top 5 pick in this class, but I'll tell you what, right now, he's going to win from a record book standpoint. I think he has a chance to break some records, offensive tackle records for 40-yard dash, how he jumps, the agility testing, because this guy is explosive and then some, very, very good athlete, and teams are going to – the 10-yard split, I really do think he could break, like, Lane Johnson's record. Like, his 10-yard split is incredible.
4.72 is what Lane Johnson ran at 300-plus pounds, whatever, is nuts.
Yes.
Like, those are better – so him and Teron Armstead, both 4.71 for Teron Armstead, 4.72 for Lane Johnson. I don't think people are like those are better than DT numbers we've ever seen, really. Like, for guys that big. Like Aaron Donald ran 4.68 and he was 2.
If Jedrick Wills runs a 4.7, like or 4.69 or something, I'm just gonna lose my mind. Like
people don't understand how freaky some of these O-line are.
I agree. I agree because I think the other guys get more coveted because they play the skill positions or whatever. But Jedrick Wills, I think, could come in and really blow up the combine. Give me your loser for the combine.
I'm gonna go with Andrew Thomas, and this one's not necessarily because he's gonna test poorly, but there's a tier 1 of offensive tackles, in the NFL right now. It's him, Tristan Wirfs, Josh Jones, and I'm losing all my
Jedrick Wills,
and Mekhi Becton. That's tier 1. I think he's going to be of them. They'll test the worst, and at that point, if you test the worst, and I don't think it's going to be bad, but it's just all those other guys are very athletic.
Yeah,
all those other guys just are going to have better physical profiles, and at that point,
even worse than Josh Jones.
That one actually is debatable in terms of who gets worse, but I could see it coming in a little worse. But again, I don't think it's going to be bad. But when you have a tier and you don't have a ton to separate these guys, athletic testing is like what people lean on. And so if you don't test as well as the other guys, all of a sudden you might go to the back of the bus.
Yep. All right. I'm going to go ahead and give my loser. It's Isaiah Wilson because I think he's a mountain of a man similar to Mekhi Becton, but he does not move like Mekhi Becton. And I think you're going to see them compared a little bit. And I think Isaiah Wilson is just not going to be on the same tier as Mekhi Becton from a mountain standpoint.
Yeah, he is slow-footed. And I think anytime you're that big, though, it's tough to lose the combine. I guess Orlando Brown kind of did lose the combine because his numbers were rough. Mm-hmm. But, everyone's like, oh, man, did you see how big he was? Oh, so big. He holds it well, though. Like, that guy's 340, 350 range, and he's not like a Zach Banner 350. Like, Zach Banner should not have been 350. This guy, I'm not sure it's going to be too easy for him to get below 340. Like, he is just a heavy dude built that big. So I think there's a lot you can do with tackles that big. Having him asking him to pass protect, 40, 50 times a game is not something that is one of those options. I don't think he's going to hold up in a role like that, though.
No, yeah, I would agree. I think this is going to be an interesting combine for him and the other big offensive linemen in this class. All right, interior offensive line, give me your predicted winner here.
I'm going to go with Darrell Williams from Mississippi State, center this year, guard the year before. A lot better at guard, but I think he's just very athletic. Him and Nick Harris, to me, are the two best athletes, but Williams really needs – Harris's tape was good this year. Williams' tape was not. He needs to prove that, hey, I know tape wasn't good, but I can do things from an athletic standpoint that maybe your center can't do. And if you run a lot of screens, if you get me on the move, all of a sudden I can start in your offense instead of being a liability like he looked like at times at Mississippi State.
I need to jump to my winner, Netani Muti of Fresno State. If he's going to test, which I believe he is, I think
it's just a shoulder injury.
Yeah, I think he's going to test, and I think he's going to impress some people with what he can do on the bench, what he can do from an athletic standpoint. I also the interviews. I've watched a handful of interviews with Netani Muti. This guy is people are going to really, really like this guy's mentality and how he approaches the game. Netani Muti is a riser after the combine.
We got to interview this guy.
We have to. mean, so I said this on the mock draft video. I wrote this in the mock draft. But like Netane is referred to by his teammates as a mystical being that can like lift a moose by himself. Like they like talk about this guy like he's Sasquatch, and you've only seen him a handful of times, and it's wild. Like Netane is going to blow some people away.
We need to get shirts made with just on the front. It just has the link to his YouTube highlights.
Yes, that's or like him standing as like the classic Sasquatch picture.
We talk about it so much.
That would be fire.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, he's more than just YouTube highlights, so I think he's going to test well at the combine. Give me your loser interior offensive line.
I'm going to pivot. I know I have a name written down, but I'm going to go with his teammate. I'm going to go Lloyd Cushenberry. I don't think like he's getting this hype as a top center in the class. We've talked about his production issues, pass pro host last year. He struggled in pass pro, I think, because he's just not agile. And now center, of all the positions on the football field, I get does not necessarily the grades. We've seen the grades don't really matter about athletic testing. It's probably the least based on pure athleticism in any position on the football field. But I do think that when you are super slow and when your agility is really an issue, like you're just limited. There's things you probably can't do, and you might, like if you did struggle in pass pro in college, well, shit, you might struggle in pass pro in the NFL too if you don't have that agility.
Yeah, and I think it's similar. I got Damian Lewis. Damian Lewis's agility is not good. Yeah. This guy's built to play in a phone booth. I was thinking of other phone booth. I think is overused. I was thinking of other small spaces to use for interior offensive line. I was thinking like backseat of a Mini Cooper. I don't know, like just some small spaces. Like he's built to work from a very small space. And I don't want to say closet would be good. I don't know, but Damian Lewis again. We got on a little bit of tangent, but I don't think he's going to test super well. And I think
porta potty.
Like a porta potty. That's great. Yeah, he's built to work in a porta potty. He also smells bad, probably. I don't know. Like Gabe Jackson. The Gabe Jackson comp.
The Gabe Jackson.
So, yeah, he's built to play in a porta potty, really. And I think with that being said, he's not going to test really well. And I don't think that's going to drop him down boards, though. But, again, interior offensive line, like you said, it's not like a big athletic testing thing. It doesn't really project, like, offensive tackle, edge talent stuff. But, like, Damian Lewis, not going to be a good tester. All right, let's move a little bit quickly here. Let's dive into defensive tackle. Predicted winner at defensive tackle. And I agree with this one, actually.
TCU DT, Ross Blacklock. The dude's he's athletic. He can move up and down the line of scrimmage. He's probably going to have some bursts to him. I think he's going to that's why I'm pretty high on him, despite not having great pass rush numbers, is because the athleticism, top-notch.
I mean, Neville Gallimore is my guy, and I think he's going to test very, very well. People are going to love that first step, love that 10-yard split. It's the reason he wins at the collegiate level. He's going to be that one-on-one, win at the line of scrimmage type of guy, and you have to test well to be that guy, and I think Neville Gallimore is exactly that.
And that's why I like this DT class, because I think Ross Blacklock, Neville Gallimore, Justin Matabuke, Javon Kinlaw.
Jordan Elliott. Jordan Elliott's another guy that can really win at the line of scrimmage.
All test well. I think all those guys test well across the board, so that's why I'm a fan of this DT class.
All right, give me your loser.
You go Rashard Lawrence from LSU. Now, he isn't super productive, but I know there's some people that are high on him. But I think the reason he's not super productive, despite, I think he uses his hands well, and he has a number of pass rushing moves, but there's no juice there. I don't think he has that sort of the burst. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes over 5'1" in the 40. I just don't see it. And he's not like a nose tackle. He's probably in the 305 to 315 range. So if you don't have that, where are you going from if you're not good without athleticism? How high are you pushing that?
I think similarly, Raekwon Davis is not going to test super well. And I mean, you're going to like his size, you're going to like his length and those things, but I don't think he's going to test like these other defensive tackles that have legitimate juice as pass rushers.
I was going to say, he might be a guy whose 3-cone looks like his 40, you're like, oh, that's all right, but then his 3-cone, you're like, whoa, why?
It's like crawling to cone to cone. Does he run the figure 8? How fire would be Raekwon Davis's figure 8? Oh my goodness.
Who was the guy last year who got drafted by the Ravens who ran his 3-cone 12 times?
Jalen Ferguson?
Jalen Ferguson. 12 times at his pro day to never break 8 seconds.
The fact that he let cameras there is just absurd. His agent needed to step up, be like, dude, you film this thing, I will bury you.
Snap a phone in half.
I mean, it would have been worth it.
Man.
That was the ugliest 3-cone I've ever seen. And it was his 12th one, like you said. Oh, my goodness. That was just bad. All right, edge defender here. Mike, give me your winner.
So, Chase Young is in his own tier.
Okay, fair.
We're not going to go with Chase Young. That's cheating. I'm going to go with Julian Aguilar, Notre Dame guy. I have one Notre Dame loser and one Notre Dame winner. See, balance. I'm not a homer. But Julian Aguilar, I think, will have the best athletic profile of anyone in this class. I'm putting a stamp on it right now. I think, outside Chase Young again. Chase Young doesn't exist. Outside Chase Young, Julian Aguilar is the best athletic profile in terms of the length, what size he comes in at, burst, 10-yard, 3-cone, agilities. I think he's going to have the best.
And similarly, I think Kayvon Chason of LSU, he's my winner. He's going to test similarly to Julian Aguilar. And I think what could be a separator there, I think, in addition to, I think K'Lavon Chaisson showed some really nice high end on his tape, some good pass rush moves. I think the interviews will be interesting. Talking to K'Lavon Chaisson, what he's working, how he wants to get better, what he's hearing from NFL teams from feedback, and doing the same for Julian Okwara. Because Julian Okwara did not put it together a ton, in my opinion, on tape. I mean, he had some reps, but I think K'Lavon Chaisson might be further along the development curve, in my opinion. But Julian Okwara, again, talking to him, seeing how he's getting better, I think is important.
Yeah, and Julian Okwara, man, he's a bull rusher, yet undersized. That's what, like...
Yes.
The one thing you worry about guys who are undersized is, can they bull rush? Can they actually, like...
Speed to power is hot.
And he has some of the best speed to power in this class. Literally bull rushed 2 guys 100 pounds heavier than him in his career at Notre Dame. Losers past year, Isaiah Wilson and Mekhi Becton are the winners and losers from earlier. Both, like, monster dudes. He bull rushed both of them for pressures this year.
All right, we just got some breaking news here, and he was going to be my winner for the safety position, but Ashton Davis will not run at the Combine. He had a little bit of a groin injury at the Senior Bowl, and that kept him out of drills there as well and out of practices, and now he will not be at the Combine, so I'm going to have to flip my winner down there. But
is he scared?
He's
scared of it?
He's not scared. He's not scared. He's a friend of the pod, friend of PFF. Anyway, give me your loser at edge defender.
I'm going to go with Josh Uche, and again, this I got to explain. One, he's like small, but at 2... To be small, you better be very, very athletic. I think he's just going to be, like, fine athlete.
Oh, really?
I don't think he's going to be, like, sub 4.6. I don't think he's going to be – glad to be proven wrong, but I just don't think he's going to be that elite level of athlete to make me think he can overcome it. So that's just purely what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It's a projection for winners and losers, not writing anyone off.
All right, for my loser, I hate to even bring this up because he's a friend of the podcast as well. A good dude, a good PFF guy, but Curtis Weaver.
Bearing the boy.
Curtis Weaver of Boise State. Let's just be honest, bro. We talked earlier, like a couple weeks ago. People aren't going to love your numbers compared to K'Lavon Chaisson and Julian Okwara. I mean, his body type is something that NFL talent evaluators will not be in love with. He's not going to test freakishly athletic, even though he does have a very good first step, in my opinion. I just don't think he's going to have a good week at the Combine where people are picking apart of him looking in shorts. Because I'll tell you right now, Curtis Weaver compared to Julian Okwara in shorts is not a great look. All right, because Curtis Weaver is part of Club Sexy right now down in Frisco, Texas with Exos trying to cut some fat. Meanwhile, Julian Okwara is probably just rip-roaring rapids on the beach of L.A. because this guy's jacked head to toe. I think Curtis Weaver won't have a good Combine, but look at his production. Look at what he did against Mountain West competition and just dominated year after year. And he did so battling through injury this past year. I think Curtis Weaver, the production speaks for why he's a first-round talent on PFF's big board right now. Curtis Weaver, though, won't have a good Combine.
I was going to say, he could have a good Combine for us, though. You know,
okay.
If he comes in, like, we know.
If he passes some checks.
I was going to say, because we know he's not athletic.
Yeah.
Or, like, we know he's not athletic. We know, like, he didn't look athletic.
Yeah.
If he comes in and, like, tests athletically, we're like, oh, shit. Like, hey, maybe he actually does have it, was just playing overweight last year. It's a thing. You know, like Le'Veon Bell when he got cut up.
All right, 3 positions left. Linebacker. Give me your predicted winner at linebacker.
I'm going to go with LSU linebacker Patrick Queen. Obviously, again, you can't say Isaiah Simmons. That's cheating. He's obviously going to win at linebacker position. But I'm going to go him, his explosiveness, change of direction. I think he has a very complete athletic profile. That's why a lot of people love him. I'm a fan of his. I'm not quite on board with the first round just yet with him because he is so undersized and is not necessarily he's just not necessarily been as productive as some of the other guys in this class. But I'm going to go with him. I think he could move up boards if he really is testing freakishly.
Yeah, I think he has to, though. Here's the thing. Because the people came on board with him because, like, oh, man, this guy looks like he's got great range. Looks like he's got great athleticism. He comes in and doesn't test like it. That's going to be a little bit of a concern. But I do agree. I think he ends up testing very well. Willie Gay Jr., man, he's going to win the Combine because no one's talking about this kid right now. And then he's going to come and run a 4.45, like something stupid. Like, I think he's going to test absurdly well. I got a source at Mississippi State. Told me a little bit about Cameron Dantzler. Told me a little bit about Willie Gay Jr. He said, dude, don't be surprised if Willie Gay runs in the 4.4s. Just don't, because this guy's a legitimate freak from an athletic standpoint.
And he's not undersized. He's
no.
240. He's real size for a linebacker. Now, he doesn't love playing the run. You got a little better at that this year in like a limited sample size. You got a little more, encouraging in terms of him taking on blocks. But that's not why we're drafting him. His coverage grading is off the charts.
And yes, you're going to have to, work through some off-field stuff. He didn't get on the field a ton at Mississippi State, fell out of the coach's favor, had some suspensions, but you dig into that off-field, make sure everything's chill, kosher dill. I think you could be good with Willie Gay Jr. because he's going to test very well.
But yeah.
All right, give me your loser at linebacker.
I'm going to go Troy Dye. And he's going to be athletic, but I think he's going to be small and not necessarily explosive. And to be undersized, you have to, vert and broad jump are more important than just 40 when you're like undersized. You have to be able to like hit guys and take on blocks and not go backwards. So if you're 220, 225-ish range, what I think Dye will be, and he's 6'4". So 225 at 6'4" is a little different than 225 at 6 foot. You're skinny at 225 at 6'4". I think he needs that explosiveness, and I'm not sure he's going to have it. Now, he's so smooth, love him in coverage, but I'm not sure if like he might be a liability against the run.
Malik Harrison is my loser at off-ball linebacker. He's not going to test in the same tier as Patrick Queen, Kenneth Murray, Willie Gay, and like you want athletes at that position now. Isaiah Simmons, I didn't even mention him. We rarely mention him, but Isaiah Simmons and Chase Young are going to win the Combine. They've won everything they've probably ever done since they were born. These guys are just like freaks. These guys were born to be great, okay? Isaiah Simmons and Chase Young go without saying these guys will be winners, but Malik Harrison is not going to be on the same tier as Simmons, Queen, Murray, Gay, like I said, and for that reason, I'm just done drafting off-ball linebackers that don't have that level of athleticism.
Yeah, so he's in that mold of you got to blitz them, you got to keep them out of like bad situations in coverage, just limited in coverage. And if you want a guy like that, I feel like Texas Tech's Jordan Brooks is a better version of that in this class. So we're not quite on board with the Harrison hype. And I could agree. Like I think the change of direction drills will be rough for him.
All right, cornerback. Go ahead and kick us off with your winner at cornerback.
I'm gonna go with Auburn's Noah Igbenogany. I had this take the other day that him and C.J. Henderson are like just dudes. Like physically, nothing that no box they don't tick. So Igbenogany, I think he's gonna come in a little bigger, a little more solid than C.J. Henderson. And at that point, I think he wins this week. I'm
going Jeff Gladney. If you don't think this guy's fast, then you're wrong. Because I think he's going to come in and test in the low 4.4s, maybe even the 4.3s. And I think you don't see that a lot because he's played so aggressive. He tries to keep things in front of him. You don't see him like really turn on the jets a ton. But when he does, he's got some legitimate speed. He's aggressive, great recovery speed. I really do like Jeff Gladney. And I think a good combine could push him into the first round and keep him there.
And the biggest one for him might not even be what he runs. It might just be his weight.
Yeah.
We'll say like 180. If he comes in the 190s, we can talk.
Yeah. Same with Dancer. Very similar to Dancer. I'm like, hey, come in over 185, run well, test well, and we're gonna think about you more in that first round. Give me your loser at corner.
Loser at corner is gonna be, and I hate to say it because I love his tape, and I think he's still gonna be really good, but Christian Fulton. He goes over 4.5, and you're just not going to be.
Yeah,
you're not.
And he could, and he honestly could. And I think there are some concerns there. I don't know if the agility testing will be as good as some of these other guys too.
I think he's going to be pretty good. I think that's where he wins is like cone agility. Maybe not elite, but he's solid in that. But I think the 40, we'll just see. Hopefully, I want him to run sub 4.5.
All right,
root for you.
I'm going loser here. Virginia cornerback Bryce Hall is coming off an injury. Didn't have the opportunity to test as much as probably work as much as he wanted to. I don't know if he's running. If he is, though, I think it's going to be a concern because he's not on the same level athlete as these other guys. Former 3-star recruit that won with tape study, instincts, and length. And I think he's not going to be a guy that comes in and looks good in shorts compared to some of these other guys. I still think he checks boxes. I don't think he hits any red flags at the combine.
Yeah.
But he's not going to have an absurd, athletic, stupid combine.
No, yeah. I think he still will put up a fine 40, though, like 4.5 or under. I think he's still at least that. Yeah.
I think that would be a big number for Bryce Hall. I don't know if I see that with him, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, safety. I'm going to leave my winner out. It was going to be Ashton Davis, but now that he's out, he might be a loser, honestly. Didn't participate in the Senior Bowl. There are question marks about his toughness there in Mobile, and now he's not testing in the combine.
Now he's scared.
Now he's scared. I mean, dude, no, kidding there. But Ashton Davis not testing is still a concern because that's where he's his best. The guy's a former track star. Yeah. He's going to just like light the combine on fire, really put an exclamation point on his evaluation. But he will not be testing due to what I believe is a groin injury. I haven't looked into it, but I think that's what it is.
All right. I'll give you my winner. And I'll give you your winner, too. I'll give you a winner as well. Kyle Duggar from Lenoir Rhine, the D2 guy, was at the Senior Bowl. His explosiveness is crazy. He is 6'2", 220, and might run around 4.4 and jump 40 inches.
Have you read about his background? Like he's like that classic late bloomer. I think he freshman year he came in like 5'6", and then like by his senior year he was like 6'1". Yeah. I wish I could say the same, dude. Freshman year came in at 5'6" and finished like 5'8". Like, I mean, come on.
I mean, like it's never too late.
But like I read so much. So I was reading a ton about. I read about Ben Barch. I read about Kyle Duggar and these other like small school guys, and like it's all late bloomer. Like if you do not come in as a freshman at like a legit size and don't like really play well until your senior year, like it's hard to really get out of the big school.
Have you seen the picture of George Kittle coming out of high school and like athletic testing when he was 205 pounds? Like muscle works. If you put on muscle, shit, you turn into a different athlete usually. But
I mean, go look up Ben Barch and the timeline from the guy first got at St. John's and now where he is now. arrived at St. John's as a tight end at 230 pounds and put on like 75 pounds to get to 305 at the same time. I mean, changed man, really. But like, you can be really a difference, a lot of difference in your body over the years.
All right, but I'm going to give you yours as well. It's Geno Stone from Iowa. The dude can scoot. I think he runs. I texted you this weekend and I said he's this year's
Darnell Savage.
I truly believe that. I think he's going to rise up draft boards. I'm not sure if he makes his way all the way in the first round like Savage did, but I think he runs.
This guy's outside the top 200 on most boards. At least like Geno Stone, like you said, you tweeted out earlier today, and I'm with you, man. The most underrated safety in this class. I mean, I'm listening.
Off the charts. He has plays on tape. What I love to see is when a guy has plays on tape where they're watching two routes, and then they break on one without ever looking at the quarterback. And the ball's coming there, and then
that's hot.
Like those are the ones that's like the
I'm getting a little excited.
That's the Luke Kuechly special. When you see a guy who trusts his instincts that much, that he doesn't have to know that the ball is coming there. Now, one time against USC, actually, he jumped one, dove at the wide receiver. The ball was not thrown at that wide receiver. It was actually hilarious to watch. I should probably try to find that on the broadcast tape and tweet it out. But he dives at the wide receiver, and the ball was not targeted. But that's how much he trusts his instincts, that he's going to dive at a ball that wasn't even thrown.
Wow.
And you love to see a guy play that way.
I will say this. Someone go find out what I was doing for defensive backs as coaches. Because, like, Desmond King, Josh Jackson. R.I.P. But Geno Stone, like, these guys come. Amani Hooker, like, these guys come in with great instincts, great coaching, and really, really understand zone coverage and how to like win within that zone coverage. I think Geno Stone, I haven't watched a ton of his tape, I'm going to be honest, but I think I might have to turn it back on after what you said. Yeah. All right, losers at the combine, at safety.
I'm going to go Terrell Burgess from Utah. One, because he's undersized. And if you're like undersized at any position, you've got to make up with explosiveness. And I don't think he will. And that's worrisome when you're undersized, unexplosive. I think he's going to come in like 4'5", maybe like 34-inch vertical. And at that point, you just worry about guys. You'd rather have a more explosive athlete.
Yeah. Alrighty. My loser is going to be Antoine Winfield. I think there are concerns right now with his straight line speed.
Antoine. Good. Minnesota safety.
Yeah, he's very good. But I think there are concerns with his straight line speed. I don't know if he answers them there. I don't think he's going to be a fast safety.
He might. I think he's still quick, though. Like, I think, like, who was it last year? The Asian safety from Washington who's...
Taylor Rapp.
4'8". But then he had like the top agility, top shuttle, and the top three cone where it's like, oh, okay, like you can short area, you can get by with this. I think we could see that with Winfield. Maybe he runs a 4.6 something, but then pretty nice agility drills for him.
Alrighty. That's going to do it for our position-by-position winners and losers prediction. We're going to do a ton more 2020 NFL Scouting Combine content here on the 2-for-1 Drafts podcast. You're going to find us on YouTube. You're going to find us on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're going to be everywhere.
You say that every time now, and I just thought of this over the weekend. I'm like, if they're listening to us, it's on Stitcher, Apple Podcast. Like, they're probably...
I should probably stop telling everybody that. It's
not like you're listening on Spotify and you're like, where else the fuck could I listen to this right now?
Okay, yeah, I'm listening to it on Spotify, but I haven't checked it out on Stitcher, honestly. But, yeah, all right, well, that's going to do it for the 2-for-1 Drafts podcast. Remember, we're going to do like 4 or 5 podcasts this week, a ton of Combine content coming out this week. Mike's going to be ripping me for my outros all week long, so it'll be fantastic there. For more of this, check out where you get your podcasts. This is Austin Gayle, Mike Renner on 2-for-1 Drafts.
You're addicted to saying it.
Stitcher, Apple Podcast.